Okay, so today we are going to see TestNG. So what is TestNG? Why we are going to use TestNG and the features of TestNG, the annotations. So today we will see the theory part, and if time permits, we will continue with practical or we will continue it tomorrow. Okay, so what is TestNG? So TestNG is an automation framework in which NG stands for next generation. So basically it is inspired by JUnit. So JUnit has an annotation at the rate. Okay, so that is what we use here. So it TestNG eliminates most of the limitation of the older framework and gives the developer the ability to write more flexible and powerful tests with help of easy annotations, grouping, sequencing, and parameterization. So we have JUnit. So using JUnit, the developers will see that the code is executed and then they do unit testing using JUnit and they use that in their development. But as testers, we don't want all the features of JUnit. So that is where TestNG came in. Wherein, like in TestNG, we have pulled only some qualities, few things which are good for testing, which we can use, which will make our executions and our coding easier. So it has come up with the features which are easy for a tester. So basically TestNG has at the rate annotation. So that is the main thing. So why use TestNG in Selenium? So the major benefits of TestNG are it gives the ability to produce HTML reports of execution, which Selenium do not generate a proper format of test results. In Selenium, we do not have a proper format of generation of results. So we see, right, when we execute the results, we will see in that Java console. In the console in Eclipse only, we will be able to see like what is the reason and then it is a pass or a fail and why it happened. So that is where we use this HTML reports. So in this HTML reports, what we do is we get the data like how many pass, how many fail, the summary, the reason for the failure. And then we have different types of reports in TestNG, like we have emailable reports or HTML reports, and then like a screenshot. So different like types it has, or we can open on different browsers and mail them as well. So the main benefit of TestNG is the reporting, because we don't have that feature in Selenium. In real time, like people are going for Cucumber because Cucumber has a good reporting structure. So we'll get all diagrams, pivot charts, and all the things. So that is where people are going for Cucumber now. But in Selenium, as we do not have that, we have to add TestNG. So that is the only thing. Now, annotations made testers' life easy. So annotations used in TestNG are very easy to understand. So it is very easy to understand. Like when we keep an annotation like before test, before method, after method, and then before test and after test. So for example, when we in real time, every time we will be logging in. So when we execute a test case, we have to log in. So every time I can't keep on writing the login method. So to make that, to reduce that effort, what we are doing is we are giving at the rate before test or before method. And we will call that method, which is there. With that, what will happen? So every time this test case is executed, it will go by itself, log in, and then enter into the test case. Okay, so in that way, it will execute that. So annotations, we use it for reusability. Instead of writing a number of times, we are just calling that. Now, the next feature in TestNG is TestNG can be grouped and prioritized more easily. So we can group or prioritize the test cases very easily here. Means, says in say suppose we have maybe 10 pages or 10 modules are there. You have a banking module. So in your banking module, you have personal loans, vehicle loans, and then housing loans. So all these things are there. So when they are there, what you will do? you will have different modules or different pages. And in vehicle loan, I have some 50 test cases. Vehicle loan module, which is a package. Inside that, I have 50 test cases which are in the form of a class. So I want to group them. So I want to group everything. So I will group everything in vehicle loan package. When I want to run that, I'll give groups is equal to vehicle loan. So whatever test cases are present inside this vehicle loan will be run. So that entire set would be run when I am executing this vehicle loan module using the group. Okay, so we are grouping. Then if I want to run only the test cases which are present in personal loan, so I will give groups is equal to personal loan. So in that way, I'm grouping them. So this loans should be executed, this thing will be executed, and I have to run that. Here, the benefit of TestNG is we will have one TestNG.xml file. So that plays a very, very big key role in our TestNG project or suits, because there we specify like which package it should run, which group it should run. So that will take from the test cases and it will run. So that is linked to the test cases or modules or entire project and the folder structures. So that is grouping. So we group them like this set should be run. And one more thing is like we can run only failed test cases also. So that is one thing wherein I can run only the failed test cases. Next is prioritize more easily. So we can prioritize more easily. So if I have 1 to 10 test cases, so in that 1 to 10 test cases, if I want to prioritize, so I want to run the first test case last and last test case somewhere in the middle, I can prioritize. I can give priority 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can give 4, 3, 2, 1. Whatever, whichever I want, I can prioritize them. Then we have parallel testing and cross browser testing. So that is also possible. So parallel testing means what? I can run 10 test case parallelly at once. So that is one advantage here. So here parallel testing means it plays another major role in real time. In the regression suite, you have 500 test cases and I want to run those 500 test cases. So if I run, it should not be like that 500 test cases will take so much time and you have to just leave your laptop like that. So what we can do is, and even like if it is continuously integrated with Jenkins, there also all 500 test cases, if they are running at once, so it is time taking and that system will be stuck or that server will be like occupied. Our laptop, if we are running and locally, it will be occupied. So to like have that, make it easy, we have parallel testing. Means what? I will run 10 10 10 10 test cases separately at once, or I will run one module at once separately. Like at once it will start parallelly, I'll be able to execute. So this 500 test cases, instead of taking 5 hours, I will be able to run it in 1 hour. How? I will differentiate this 500 into 5 modules, 100 test cases each, and I will run those 5 modules parallelly at once. So that is where I will be able to execute it, and without any time waste, it will be executed and I will get the reports. So that is the advantage of parallel execution and parallelly testing. So this is possible with TestNG. So we have to add these parameters as parallel testing, yes, or enabled in testng.xml file, then only that will be executing parallel. Then we have cross-browser testing. So what is cross-browser testing? So manually also we do this. So manually we test the same application on different browsers. Say it is like maybe Chrome, Mozilla, Firefox, and Internet Explorer. So all these things we will be executing. So parallelly we are going to execute that uh, on different browsers again. So I want to execute on the cross browsers at once. So these parameters also I will be passing in my testng.xml file and see like how it will run on different browsers. Same here also, same thing. I have 500 test cases. I have differentiated it into 5 modules, and all these 5 modules I want to run on 3 different browsers. So to run like that on 3 different browsers, same test cases, so I can do the cross-browser testing, and the execution will be simultaneously happening on the 3 browsers, and then we will get the results there. So this is one of the very big advantage of TestNG.xml. So here again, when we are running on cross-browser testing using Selenium WebDriver, what plays a very important major role is the drivers, WebDriver. So we are running it on different drivers. So we have to install, download them into our project and keep there. For Chrome driver, for Mozilla it is Chico drivers, and then Internet Explorer it is IE drivers. So all these 3 types of drivers we have to install on our system and keep on our system to execute them on different browsers at once or one by one. So it is on our like requirement and how we want to do. Okay, so let me pause for 1 minute. So any questions, any doubts? No questions? Okay, so let me continue. Then the next part is executing multiple times. So executing multiple times means I want one test case to run 50 times. So I just want to run, or like maybe with the different data, or just like that I would like to run. So there I can give this by just giving invocation count is equal to 10. So it will run 10 times. If I give invocation count and the value there, so it will run there. Then generates logs. So testing G will generate a lot of logs. So it will give us lot of like details like why this test case is failing, where it is failing, like what is the reason, is it the environment reason or is it the expert? So what are the different things here involved? So all these things like the logs will be generated, and then data parameterization is possible. So when it is data parameterization, so what is meant by parameterization? So we are giving different sets of data, different types of data, and then we are ensuring that it is run with different test data combinations. So here we can add an Excel, and then we have data providers. So at the rate before test, after test, like that, we have at the rate data provider. So this data provider will see that it is linked to the Excel, and from the Excel we are taking the data, and then we are executing our test cases. Then we have TestNG simplifies the way the tests are coded. So when we code, like we give a proper sequence which we want to run before, which we want to run after. So like all these things are simplified. Then there is no more need for a static main method in our test. So generally till now what you were doing, for every class when we create, we will give public static void main. Why? Because we want a return type. So we want that to return something, whatever we are creating. But here in this TestNG, we do not need a main method, a static main method. We only need at the rate test. So at the rate test annotation, and we will write public void method name, and we will start writing that. And then when we want to execute this, at the rate test will take care, and that is mapped to the testng.xml file. So this testng.xml file is a very important file which plays a major role in the execution. Okay, now the sequence of actions is regulated by easy to understand annotations that do not require methods to be static. So we do not need a public static main method. We directly write it with the annotation at the rate test, and then that is being used and executed further. Then the testing framework can be easily integrated with the tools like Maven, Jenkins, etc. So when we are integrating it with tools like Maven, so Maven is used for handling all the build dependencies. So any issues in the build, so any latest version needs to be added or upgraded. So all these things are taken care by Maven. So TestNG, through TestNG, we can add the Maven plugin and then we can integrate and it will take care and we can run that. This we will see in our practical session. Then we have Jenkins also. So in Jenkins, when we are executing our entire regression suite, so TestNG is a mediator. I think it plays a very important role there. And the TestNG.xml file is there, right? So that will give the results there. So that is also plugged in into Jenkins, wherein when we want the specific build to be run, so we give the details, which group or which module. Similarly, like as I told you, here when we want to run a specific module, we give that module details and run locally. Same thing, like same XML file, testng.xml file, I will push it into Jenkins and there also I will do the same thing. Okay, now features of TestNG. So what are the different features present in TestNG? So the main core, the heart of TestNG is annotations only, and different types like of using it. Now things are like features are before and after annotations. So before annotation, where does it stand? So before execution of any test case. So as I told you, like we have prerequisites. So if I have to log in into this particular portal or this particular site which I have to test, I have to like answer few questions and then I agree to that what is a document and that rules, and then only I will be able to go into the main page. So that is a prerequisite to log in into that page, which I have to test. So I have to accept all the rules, the agreement there. So that is something which is a prerequisite. And after execution, I need to clean up all the cookies and then I have to say, yes, I have completed the execution. So these things should come. So what I will do for every test case, so now we are not having the main method in TestNG. So directly we go with @test. So when we are going with that, I can't keep on writing this before like uh, entering into that method. I have to do this and after I have to do this. So what I will do instead of that, I will see that there is a prerequisite. Before this test, I have to execute that. So I'll give before test in the utility in another class, and from that this will be extended, and every time I execute the test case, this before annotation should run, and after execution of the test case, after annotation should run. So before and after, so I have before and after here, so that will be executed. So instead of writing so many times, we are writing it at once and we are reusing it. So reusability. Okay, so how much we are reusing it, and maintainability, how we are maintaining the before and after annotation and the framework, the structure of our framework. Then we have XML based test configuration. So um, let me finish left side first. Dependent methods. So in dependent methods, what we are going to give, what are all the dependent methods on the test cases? So like as I told you, before and after method, before test, after test. So before this method, I have to execute that. And few more things, like in real time, we have certain prerequisite, like in healthcare especially, this to do perform this action, this person should have this insurance type, or he should be under this age group. So all those are prerequisites again. So that is dependent like dependent method before we execute or run this. So this can be called like before method. Then dependent groups. So internally we have lot of groups. So say suppose, as I told you, we have different types of loans. So inside the types of loans, again, I will have a grouping. I'll have different groups. This company is having 10% discount. Company B is having 20% discount. company 3 is having 30% discount. So in that way, I will put all A list companies under one group, B list companies under another group. So in that way, I can group them and run them. Group A company, and I can just um, run that. At the same time, dependent group means before I have to run this company A, I have to run its parent company. I have to check the rules in the parent company. Like parent and child companies we have, right? So first I will check in the parent company the rules and regulations, and then if it is matching, then I will go to the dependent companies, the A list companies. So in that way, I will be checking all the prerequisites, so the dependent groups. Then we have data driven testing. So what is this data driven? So data driven is basically the Excel. In the Excel, the different types of data combinations which we are giving and which we are running. So that is the data driven testing. So we are having another annotation here at the rate data provider. So when we use that and we give the data provider location of the Excel, it will go fetch the data from the data provider and execute all the test cases. Okay. Now we have better reporting. So as I told you, we have a very good and a better reporting using TestNG, wherein we get the list of failed test cases, past test cases, and what are the test cases, reason for the failure, and the summary. If any test cases are skipped, then what is the reason for that skipping of the test case? So all these things like we will get in a report. So that is another important advantage. Then we have, this is XML based configurations. So this is one more thing. So we have testng.xml file in testng, in which we pass different parameters like what is the environment, what is the URL I'm going to test, and what are the different parameters. I can give wait times also there. Wait times, am I going to execute that in Selenium grid, or am I going to execute it directly? And then how am I going to run the package, or am I going to run the class? So all these things we can give it in the testng.xml file, and we will run that. So when we run that, only that specific package or that specific thing which we are expecting, only that will be run. Okay. So any questions till here? I will pause for some time. Let me know any questions, any doubts. Okay. No questions, no doubts.
A lot of questions, but I was in travel.
Okay. So then you're traveling, right? So tomorrow come up with all your list of questions then. Okay, so let me continue then. Actually, when we do hands-on, so half of the questions, doubts will go. You should be doing hands-on on this. Now, coming to the next group. Group we have already discussed, but let me reiterate again. So in group, we are grouping them into one, all the packages into one group, or 5-6 packages into one group. So we give the names there, like how many packages come under this group, or test cases also, the classes, like how many are there. So we are grouping them. Then we have parameterization of test method. So we can parameterize that. So this data for this method, that data for this method. So we are going to parameterize the methods which we are using. Then we have multi-threaded execution. So multi-threaded means parallelly we are executing, and then in server also we can execute this test for everything. TestNG.xml file plays a very big key role. Then we have Open API. So Open API means what? So it's a lot of an API which will fetch the data, get the data, we can update it, and all the things will be happening in this APIs. So we can create randomly the data. So we can create the random data, and we can reuse that. So API is like we are going and just fetching it on a fly. So these are all the features of TestNG. So we have to see one by one. Now, list of TestNG annotations. So in this we will have a certain sequence here. So I can't use before test, after the test, and like before suit, before using something else. So we have a certain sequence. So the list of annotations are before suit, after suit. So that is the topmost and downmost. Then before test, after test, before class, after class, and then before method, after method, before group, after group. So these are the main TestNG annotations which we will be using for our execution and then for creating. Okay, now here for which type of annotation is used. Now at the rate before suit, so this will run before the execution of all the test methods in the suit. So before we run any test method, so this before suit will run the whatever method we are writing, that will run before anything else in the project or our repo or framework, okay, in our structure. So before suit will run before execution of all test methods, and then after suit will run after execution of all the test methods. Maybe there are 100 test methods, so before that is executed we'll have before suit and after suit, after that 100 methods are executed. So 100 methods could be 100 test cases also. Now after suit, so the after suit it will run after execution of all the test methods. And then we have before test. So the before test annotated method will be executed before the execution of all the test methods of available classes belonging to that folder. So the before test method will execute before all the test methods of that class on which we are going to run this. Then after test will be executed after execution of all test methods available classes belonging to that folder. So in that one folder we will have a lot of test cases, right? So in that we can give before test, after test. Then we have before class. This will be executed before the first method of the current class. So before class, so in the class itself when we are creating the class, so before that class test case is executed, this before class methods or before class whatever we have written, that will be executed. Then after class, so after class it will be invoked after the execution of all the test methods of the current class. Then we have before method. So this before method will be executed before each test method will run. So before any test method is run, we are going to execute the before method. Then we have after method. So in the after method, we will run after the execution of each test method. Then before groups, so this is run once the group, for a group before execution of all test cases belonging to that group. So in that group we have 10 test cases, right? So before that we will run this before group. Then we have after group. This is run only once for a group after the execution of the test cases. Now, so this is the main key part of the TestNG, wherein like everything is run through annotations only. Now this is a hierarchy. So this is one interview question like which they ask, tell me the sequence of annotations which we use. So see here. So we have before suit, after suit. And then we have before test, after test. Before class, after class. Before method, after method, and test. At the rate test is only one. We don't have we have, but we don't use like that. We use it as a single test case when we are writing at the rate test. Okay, now benefits of using TestNG annotation. So the main benefits are, it has made life of tester easy. Based on the requirements, you can access test methods, and it has no predefined pattern or format. So we have easy methods to use. We know, like, if we should know where to use what and when, that's it, we are good. Then you can pass additional parameters to TestNG annotation. In the case of TestNG annotation, you do not need to extend any test classes. Then we have TestNG annotations are strongly typed, that is, errors are detected at the compile time. So during the compile time itself, all the errors are detected and those are displayed. Now, TestNG attributes. So in this TestNG attributes, we have description. So this is again a important attributes which we are using here. So in description, it is a string which is attached to @annotation, which describes the information about the test. Means what? Like just a description, like what does this test case do? If it is something like it is going to create a promotion, or it is going to give me the summary of the checkout card. So all these descriptions, like real-time descriptions, which we are automating the test case, are described here. Then priority. When no priority is specified, then TestNG will run on alphabetical order. So it will run in alphabets like A, B, C, D. But if you're giving priority 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it will run as per the priority you are giving. But if you do not give any priority, it will take the alphabetical order and run the test cases. Then we have priority determines the sequence of execution of test cases. So the sequence is determined. Then the priority can hold the integer values between -5,000 and 5,000. So the priority we can give between 5,000 and -5,000. Then when the priority is set, the lowest priority test case will run first and the highest will be executed last. Means what? If I give 1 to 10, 1 will be executed first and then 10 will be executed last. So in that way, the lowest test case means one test case will run first and 10 the test case will run in the last. So it will go in that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sequence. Then groups. The groups attribute is used to group the different test cases belonging to same functionality. So as I told you in banking, so one more I can give you example is you are logging in into your Facebook or any account. So first is the home page, then you have the login page, and then you have the messages page, then you have the images, and then um, advertisements, let us say. So we are grouping them. So I can group them like depending on functionality. First is login group, then first is homepage group, then it is login group, then we have summary, then we have emails, and then we have images. So we are grouping that by functionality. All login related test cases will come under one package, all other homepage related will come under one page. So in that way we are grouping that. Then depends on method. So this is something which we have discussed already, but still again, when the second test method wants to be dependent on the first test method, like prerequisites, then this should be possible by using depend on methods attribute. So what we are giving here, we are giving here, this will depend on that method. Before execution of this method, it have to complete that method and go. Then if the first test method fails, then the dependent method on the first test method and the second test method will not run. If the prerequisite is failing, for example, as I told you, like we need to like check an agreement before getting into the login page. If the first checking itself, if we check box, if we don't check, it will not go to the next page. So it will fail there itself. So that method should be passed before getting into another method. Depends method should be closed. Then enabled. So the enabled attribute contains the boolean value. So it is true or false. So why we are using this? So if you want to skip some test methods, if I don't want to run certain test methods, I just want to keep that like, because out of 100, if 10 are failing and the report is coming as 10 fail, and I don't want to show them itself because they are deprecated, they're no more required, so I will give enable false for that methods and I will not run. Okay. Now coming to the next timeout. If one of the test cases is taking long time due to which test cases are failing. So to overcome such situation, you need to mark the test case as fail to avoid the failure of other test cases. So we need to mark the test case as fail. So if it is no longer, I don't want to use it anymore. So I will use it. I'll keep that timeout because of the timeout things. So what is happening is it is taking long time due to which others are failing. So that is why we to avoid such failures of test cases, we give the timeout and the time period. So for other test cases, if it is taking 10 seconds, here I will give 50 seconds because I wanted that to wait and I want the test case to be passed instead of keeping it as timeout and it is not executing. Okay. Now this we will be doing the practical session. So let me show you installation first. So when we go to Eclipse here, we have this help. In the help, we have Eclipse Marketplace. So in this Eclipse Marketplace, go here and inside this give test TestNG and you search it. There's no TestNG here. Okay. So it is latest version, so might be it is not there. Let me check for Maven also will not be there. Maven. Okay, so we have Maven also. Yep. So Maven, you have to install Maven. If not, like we have to go to the portal. So here, check in your system. Are you seeing the Eclipse in this marketplace? If you are not seeing here in the marketplace, then second option is help install new software and here you have to give the URL. So let me go back here. So available software, if you want I'll give this document or you can get it like just install it by giving this link beust.com Eclipse. So when you give this link and add it, so you will get an add repository pop-up box. So inside that you give TestNG and give that location. So at beust.com Eclipse http beust. So this is a portal. From there we have to download that and then you check on TestNG. Default you will be getting this. So check on that TestNG and click on next. So when you click on next, this will be downloading and it will ask for these three types of like what we should install. So from that three, just click next. We want all the things whatever are there and then you accept the license. So once you accept the terms and conditions, then it will ask for like install anyway. Do you want to install anyway? So for that you just say yes, you would like to install and then you once it is installed, you have to restart your Eclipse. So restart your Eclipse and then after restarting you open it and check like are you able to see in the Windows show view other, check here inside Java you are having TestNG or no. Okay, so that is something which you have to see. Windows show view other, inside this Java see this is TestNG. Okay, so you are going to check this is installed or not, and once you download it you have to see that you restarted your machine to see this on your system. Okay, you install this and keep it. So once you install, what happens is anywhere where you are giving @test, let me see here, at the rate test. Okay, this will not take. So when I give at the rate test, it will ask for the add-ons related to at the rate test. Let me check here if I have anything. I will show you. See, I'll just remove this import. So it will ask, see, all red marks are coming, right? So when I click on this and see import TestNG annotations. So here we have import test org JUnit, but we don't want to import JUnit, add library to build path. We want TestNG annotation. So when I add that, these things will go. Okay. So tomorrow we will be seeing this, what you say, prioritizations, or else just wait, we will complete this also. So I have created one package. So inside that I added the add-ons. I created a class, and let me create at the rate test priority 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So this is one test case. At the rate test, I gave the priority as 1, and it's just a test case. System out print line, I gave a test case 1. Then I gave test at the rate test priority 2, and this is another test case. Then I have priority 3. This is the third test case. So what I'm doing till now, when you were running your scripts, you always had Java application. So now what you have run as TestNG. See, this TestNG was not coming till yesterday. But now when we install the TestNG add-ons and then the plugin, the jar files, I got this TestNG test. So when I run this, so I will get the results here in the TestNG. So here what I'll get all the test case 1, 2, 3, how many seconds of time it took. Then there are no failed test cases, and overall summary is 1 class, 3 methods. Okay, so this is the testng.xml, like not XML, testng report, which we can see like this. So this we were not able to see before. So passed, test 1, methods, 3 methods are there, how much time it took. Now here, instead of this, I want to run the third test case first, and I want to run the first last. I want to run this test case first and this test case last. So I just have to just change the priority. So here one thing is we should be cautious with the open brackets, close brackets, and curly braces. All these things we should be cautious. When I run this, run as testng. So now instead of running the first test case first, it should run the third test case first. Okay, see, all test case 3, test case 2, test case 1. And one more thing is, I want the results of this. So to get the results of this, what I have to do is I have to refresh my folder. So this folder is there, right? I need to refresh. So when I refresh this, then only I will get the test output folder. So in this test output folder, so this is related to TestNG. I have so many types of reports. So let me see this emailable report.html. Open with the browser. So see here. So the report is so nicely well organized. Test case 1, test case 2, test case 3, test case 1. So how many tests are passed? All the 3 test cases are passed. And then default test. So all these things, it will come in a HTML report. This is a HTML report which we can just download it or save it and import, like send it through a mail. Okay, so similarly we have this different types of reports. You can click on each and everything and see what is there inside this. So this is another type XML report, passed 3, total 3, the version, and it is a default suit, and then This is all. We are not interested in these things. Cancel. And we have JUnit reports, but I do not want to, like, if you want, you can just get into each and everything and see test one, test one. So TestNG annotations in the form of JUnit. But this is a sort of basically the reports which we are having, which we are, see, we are not interested in JUnit. We are like, we want it in TestNG only. Okay. So the main focus is like HTML reports. So this is the main report which we generally look for when we are using testng.xml or testng formats. Okay. And then these are all related to testng. Okay. So I think I will stop here. So today what I would request is install the TestNG, add that configuration to your Eclipse, add all the details and check you are able to see that in your Eclipse. And then tomorrow we will continue with only practical part. Today we are like done with the theory part. Only cross browser is there, but we'll continue. First, let us complete all these annotations part and all practically, and then we'll go for the next topic in the test engine. Okay, so any questions here? Any doubts? Okay, think there are no doubts. Then thank you. Let's catch up tomorrow.